You should put yours a little bit this way.
Can you turn the heat on?
I'm helping you.
Thank you. Thank you for your assistance.
That way when he turns towards you.
Yeah, because that's what happens. He does this, and then he's away from the mic.
He's going to talk like this the entire time looking right
I was going
at
to say, I feel like Mike is deep-throating his mic.
Be like on Talladega Nights. He's like, her car ran real good.
What do I do with my hand?
Welcome back to the Rooted Podcast, where we talk dogs, training, and the real work behind it all.
So
I
good.
apologize for that voice. Today we're here to have an honest conversation with two phenomenal people that have put in the time, the reps, and the years.
And today, we brought you two of the best to ever do it.
Kind of like it.
It's very
That's
sexy.
pretty good, right?
To the right of me, I have Jay Nix. He recently retired after 25 years in law enforcement. Yep, former Canine commander, now president of Canines United, and the owner of Ridgeside Canine Central, Florida. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to be
Congrats.
here.
Thank you.
Who do we have to the left?
To your left?
To your left.
Oh, to my left, we have
Same left.
the Phenom.
Phenom.
Some of you may know him as the Track Daddy. But around here, we just call him Mike Lilley.
Thank
Mike,
goodness.
he is the owner of Ridgeside Canine. I'm going to read some of Mike's facts about him, all right? He's a Canines United instructor. He's a knee poo-poo certified trainer and owner of Ridgeside Canine Knoxville. Mike, welcome.
Thank you.
All right. So before we jump in, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Worthless Handler. If you haven't been in the working dog world for more than 5 minutes, you already know their name. This is a brand built inside the community, not outside looking in. They make gear that fits the lifestyle. They support handlers, decoys, trainers, and the departments when no one else is watching, and that matters. Support companies that actually support the working dog community and head over to worthlesshandler.com. Bum, bum, bum.
What's up, Gary?
Hey, Gary. Okay, so we can either do this one or two ways. I have a few questions to ask you guys, or you can just start talking about yourself and just like,
I like the question.
you like
Yeah,
the
I feel
questions.
like not them
Okay.
just talking about themselves. Not
I mean,
gonna
I'm
be,
awesome, but
yeah, it's a pretty short list for
Okay.
him.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
Well, I'll start off before I get into the questions. I have had the privilege of knowing these two gentlemen for quite some time, and immediately it felt like family that you just hadn't met yet. And I have watched you guys work with Michael and really bring a lot to the canine industry. Not only are you guys unique in your skills, but you also are very entertaining. And I think there's a part that is really important because I think any good instructor has to have a way to captivate who they're instructing to.
Yeah.
Because I think we all can reflect on sometimes when we've listened to somebody and being like, you may have knowledge, but I actually cannot pay attention. Like I am
That's
literally.
a common problem for me. I have a really bad problem.
So
I think more she was just realized like these guys can put up with my husband. Like they kind of match his energy.
They do. And
We're going to keep these guys around.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been, many, many years, and all of us have kind of evolved in a lot of ways. But I think, like, no pun intended, being on the Rooted podcast, our roots kind of have always stayed the same.
Yep.
Where we have conversations quite often, whether it's just life or talking dogs or something that we want to put into fruition or plan or whatever. So I am really happy that we're actually
Yeah.
here doing this versus like on a Skype call or
Yeah.
whatever.
And the crazy thing is we've talked about doing this
Mm-hmm.
so many times.
Yeah.
And now dreams come true around
That's
here
it.
at the
Look
Rooted
at us.
Podcast.
Yeah.
We're like big kids now.
Trying to make it happen. So you guys both have been in the industry for a long time, and I'm sure that you've seen a lot of change. So let's go through like the good and the bad and the ugly. So we'll start off with like over the last 10 years, what has evolved that you are super happy that's evolved? And then what do you feel that is there something that you wish that you could bring back that was happening 10 years ago and not happening today?
You want me to start?
Sure, go ahead.
So the I think the fact that change is even happening, like
Okay.
that there's even change, and it's slow. Well, I think that the more we travel, the more we teach, the more we open minds to change, and that's something that I think Canines United is at its core, is bringing our bigger seminars, is bringing that change to show handlers that it's like Jay likes to say, square pegs and round holes. It's not just we
Right.
have to fit this in with this dog this way or this handler this way, showing that there's not a, we don't have to have the cookie cutter system, same answer for every single dog and every single handler. So, because I know with my first dog, that's all it was. Same answer.
It's like you've got a book and said step
Yep.
1, step 2, step 3.
Yep. And it always turned back to blame the handler because he wasn't trusting his dog. And me standing there going, it's not true. He's dragging me to a wood line.
Believe
There's no
me.
track here, and you're telling me trust him, so I'm going. But then you're yelling at me for going with him.
Right.
So that's the fact that change is coming.
Yeah.
That it is slow, because in the beginning of with my first dog, getting change was not allowed. Like me seeking out other trainers got me in trouble. I was told that I wasn't allowed to go down there because they're a sheriff's office, and I was going to Collier County, working with Sergeant Gifford, and like he's really the first one that exposed me to markers and food training when I was
Yeah.
being told that stuff is bad and you can't work a dog that way. And now I've come to whenever I hear that kind of stuff, like you can't lay your own tracks and you can't use food and you can't use markers, to ask, have you tried these things?
Right.
And 100% of the time it has been no. Their answer is always no, I haven't
Yeah.
tried it. And so that's why I go back to it's actual change coming, and the more handlers we get to show them and trainers that we get to show them in leadership. I mean, how many at Raleigh, we had 3 commanders there or 2?
Yeah.
The more that keep coming to those things, the more change will come
Yeah.
throughout agencies. And then most likely when all of us are dead and gone, it will actually be the norm maybe.
Right.
But at least it's coming that way. So
Yeah. Okay. And is there something that you saw back in the day that no longer
I love how
exists?
she uses back in the day and looks at you.
Right?
Because you were speaking. I was
Immediately,
giving
immediately,
Jay
like, let me
an
refer to the old dude.
Yeah, let's talk to Jay about this.
So, Jay, back in 1905,
And Noah's Ark was hitting.
We'd have to have Rob on for that. Come on now.
that's
What-
next week's episode.
Yeah.
Is there something that you wish happened still today that doesn't happen anymore?
I think the camaraderie of what it was. Mike and I were talking yesterday about somebody making a comment on a platform where they were bashing a handler, and because they didn't agree with
Right.
this very small snippet of information that they had, and his response was to bash him.
Right.
Not wonder what there's more information here. And I told Mike, my frustration was that you're saying, this is part of what's maybe holding the industry back,
Mm-hmm.
while at the same time holding the industry back.
Mm-hmm.
Bouncing off what Mike said, I feel like the amount of information that's now available that was
Right.
never available. I remember prior to, maybe even longer than 10 years ago, but things were so different.
Mm-hmm.
But I was convinced that was how it was done.
The only.
And it wasn't until I was pushed outside of my box and I had an opportunity to leave our patrol division canine unit and go work for a task force, where I got outside of our normal training regimen program and was able to have access to federal money and money that allowed me to go see training and go. The second I stepped out of that box, I was like, wait a minute.
Right.
But the information wasn't readily accessible like it is now. You can wake up in the morning and go take care of your morning duties on the porcelain throne and
Yeah.
have access to training information
Yeah.
that you never had before.
Yeah.
It's kind of, when you're bringing that up, you said camaraderie, and I feel like just as a whole, as society, it's kind of actually hard nowadays to have camaraderie,
It is.
because we have, we'll call it like keyboard warriors, and I'm sure the kids are calling it something different nowadays, but which I've learned I don't know all the new lingo
You're
recently.
such a boomer, Allie.
I learned that I don't know what the skull means when you send the emoji when someone
Right.
says something. I thought that meant you're dead. I don't know. But you have the keyboard. So like you're not actually pressured to be in an environment to be like, let me get to know this person, or let me actually feel like the kind of the pressure that someone's in front of your face to have a conversation.
But it's also egos. Like, so
Right.
there's so many egos in this industry that we're so afraid to lift someone else up,
right.
Yeah.
because we're afraid lifting them up will make us
And
look
to be
bad.
honest with you, that happens more if you talk about face-to-face interaction. Like we can easily default to like a very negative approach to things when there's a screen that's kind of blocking us.
Right.
But then on the other side of what you mentioned is that the resource that kind of like platforms have made available to handlers is also a bonus,
Yeah,
right?
it's a catch-22
it
though,
is.
because it provides, but it also is also taking, because it provides us with good information. Couple things from that. One, it provides too much information for those that don't understand and don't quite know, but are hungry
right.
for it.
Right.
So they become information overload. But it also, that same tool that has the ability to really genuinely help these young guys and gals that are working this job, it also is the same tool
Right.
that people are using
To put people
to
down.
smash
Yeah.
other ones because they don't agree, they don't
Yeah.
like it, they whatever. Just imagine if all these crotchety jokers on these social media platforms and podcasts and different
Yep.
things, if they put that much effort
Yep.
Yeah.
into uplifting and supporting and, not, or even just simply not worrying
Yeah.
about what other people are doing. Focus on your own
That's right.
stuff. Focus on your own project. Like, imagine how different things would be. The camaraderie's gone.
Yep.
Right.
Because we call it, oh, we're backing the blue. We're
Right.
Yeah.
the thin blue line. Bullshit.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Right? Like we are our own worst.
Yeah.
We have, the community supports it, but we don't support each other anymore.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
That's disappointing. But I mean, like you see it, like you said, you can take it out just out of the police canine realm. You can just look at society as a whole. It's camaraderie is not, at least what I remember. Like I can remember going to Texas
Back in the 20s.
and seeing all these different like signs on people's front porches and lawns of like just like supporting like football high school players or whatever, and it was just like that community. But nowadays I feel like every time that we try to throw a support out there, our default is to go to a platform of some kind on the internet. And you also get people that are hesitant to also do it because you don't know what kind of feedback you're going to get back, or you don't know if people even go support the blue, like you putting that out there, sometimes you don't know what kind of feedback you're going to get.
For sure.
Right. Which you should be able just to say. So
Yeah.
you get people second guessing themselves. So camaraderie, you can't even stand for it.
Yep.
Mike, what about from your perspective, from the civilian trainer that's deeply rooted into the law
He's
enforcement
playing on
canine
words.
community? What's your take on that? Because you've been at it for a while now. You're definitely
You're an old
a
head now.
mainstay
Yeah.
name in the law enforcement canine community.
Okay.
Everybody knows who you are. Like, what about from your perspective and seeing that, how that's evolved and changed from you?
I'm gonna take a different approach because
No way.
often,
Yeah, this is what he
one,
does.
I'm a
Every
contrarian,
It's
but
so
two,
annoying.
do I have the mic? Do I have the mic? It's my turn.
A talking stick.
I'm one, a contrarian, but two, my nickname is Optimistic Mike. I believe that although there's a lot of negatives that come with kind of the day and age that we're in now, on the positive side, dealing with camaraderie and stuff, I feel like if it wasn't for these social media platforms and all of that, like a lot of our relationships
We wouldn't
would
even
not
know
have
each
been.
other.
We're living
and
in
that's why it is a
different
catch-22.
different sides of the world, basically.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that there are, although overall camaraderie is kind of dwindled a bit as a whole, I feel that this is kind of like forged in fire type things, you know. And like when that is happening, then there's like really true deep relationships built, particularly when there's like a common goal for everyone as well, right? Like I know everyone here, outside of just the dog stuff, but even in the dog stuff, our goal is to try and make people better and more efficient at what they're doing, confident and comfortable in what their abilities are, right? So I'm sure that we have messed up a lot doing that, right?
For sure.
But the overall goal doesn't change. Now we have to change our approach and our tactics for that goal, and how we can make our message be most effective, and touch as many people as we can in that manner. But I think that social media is a big part of that, and I just want to argue something opposite of what you guys said.
Yeah,
for sure.
no, it's true. I mean, Rich Hartman and I were talking about this the other day. Like, he lives on the opposite corner of the country, and him and I are friends because of dogs.
Yeah.
Right. We, the three of us, the four of us,
Yeah.
five of us, because nobody can see the smoking hot blonde in the corner of Mike's wife over
Judging everything.
there. All of us are this circle that we've built. It's built around a common, right? Like, dogs have been that. They've brought us
Yeah.
together. But because of our desire to do exactly what you said, we've built and forged relationships that we would have never had if it wasn't for the access to that social media, the access to that instant information. And those friendships have gone way beyond,
Yeah, for sure.
just working and training. We talk regularly about life that has nothing to do with dogs.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
In fact, we try to go on vacations
Yeah.
without dogs.
yeah, exactly.
Doesn't really happen.
I'm extremely grateful for it, for sure.
All right, can I ask you guys a question?
Mhm.
All right, can you think of, I know like a lot of our listeners would be interested in, like in your careers, your kind of long career, Jay, your very, very long career.
Extremely.
Can you guys think of like a couple of standout moments or stories or something where like dogs have really had an impact on the job that you were doing? Maybe saving lives or bringing someone home or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's lots of them, and I was fortunate enough to work a dog most of my career. But having some real standout moments with dogs, had a family that was involved in a really, really, really bad rollover crash on the interstate, and a baby was ejected into a wooded area, and they were struggling locating this baby, and unfortunately, the dog was used to help this search team be able to find this baby that had been ejected and quite shockingly very far from the scene of the crash. Dog tracking and locating somebody that's sitting at a base of a tree with a gun in their mouth, genuinely thinking about pulling the trigger, and then getting there and transitioning from this guy that's typically seeking to hold accountable for some hideous crime or whatever,
Right.
to transitioning to putting the dog in a down and having a conversation to get this guy to take the gun out of his mouth and ultimately come over and literally give you a hug at the conclusion of this standoff and conversation, and walk out wanting to pet your dog by the time you got back to the patrol car and ambulance.
Yeah.
Those were moments for me that dogs put me in positions in my career that I never would have been, and that I've also been able to experience things that most guys in law enforcement will never get to experience because of the end of the leash.
Right. Right.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah. So I'm going to use the one we just heard about from a handler, that because all of mine are all bad guy tracks.
That's all right.
I don't have any like that I can remember where we found a kid we've done tons of those tracks, but those are so few and far between to be successful on, because there's so many factors to from contamination to time delays to which direction to there's stars have to align with that. But we taught a seminar in Indiana,
Yeah.
and there was a team from where was she from? What's her city? The Michigan. Do you remember? No. Lansing, Michigan. And there was two handlers there that were, seemed very squared away, dogs and handlers. And, us as instructors, we take note of that, as a handler that comes out and one has a squared away dog on their own effort. That's huge to me. But she was at all of our stations and took things away from that and implemented it, and was able to get a call with zero information about a person that had essentially smashed just a guy going home from work, smashed his face in with some type of utensil and left him for dead next to a dumpster. And he was in Wendy's bragging about it. So the units, obviously somebody from Wendy's called 911 and they get on scene. And the handler's telling me this story through Gary from Worthless Handler on his phone, because he's like, you got to hear this story.
This was post the seminar where she had trained with us several months later.
Yeah. And so she got on scene, and something that we're all big on teaching is, within your policy and state law, find a reason to work your dog that will help give back. And so, they've tried everything, air support and roving units, trying to find this victim that this guy's talking about, almost thinking the guy is full of crap, just talking out of his butt. And so she deploys her dog, and her exact words to me were, I just decided to look for a track around Wendy's and hopefully backtrack to the victim. And she said, I know we don't train for that, but let's give it a shot. And I told her, I get chill bumps even thinking about it now, because that's the exact thing we talk about. Like, you train for these reasons. Mm-hmm. Don't just leave the dog in the car. Find a reason to put the dog on the ground. And so she picks up a track, and I'm sure second guessing every step along the way. Said the dog took her through kind of a homeless encampment and across an interstate, and it sounded like a pretty good ways, and then took her to an alleyway, and where she recovered the victim, who was unconscious but still breathing. EMS picked the guy up. She said 100% his face was just, he had beat the snot out of him. And her and her dog got a life-saving award from that.
Wow.
And so those are things that, as an instructor, I struggle with this all the time. It's so tough to give as much as you can at a seminar and then hope the handler will, with all of the agency BS and home life and all that stuff, actually take the time to implement this stuff the way you would desire them to. And she said, hey, we've been using your system since we learned it. It's helping our new dog. And her dog was, in my opinion, already very squared away. Oh, yeah. I offered some tweaks to it because he was exhausting himself. And she said, we would have never been able to do this without that class.
That's
and
amazing.
So to know that, like, the life-saving side of it, that this guy just going to work, that this dude, violent person that needs to be in jail did this to him and was able to be recovered. And I don't know where it went after that, but that one has really, really, really stuck with me since I've heard that story. So
yeah, it's just like pure innocence, and then having someone come save you.
Yeah. And to backtrack, like, you're already second guessing yourself on a track that you're doing properly, let alone backtracking somebody.
And she was already kind of like an unassuming type handler to begin with. And
just very quiet.
That's one of the reasons why she was so impressive to us, is she was super hungry.
Yeah.
And it was very obvious through even that action that when she left that seminar, she left with some serious takeaways, that she didn't just go home and go, hey, I had a great time.
Yeah.
She went back and put it to practice right away, and it paid off.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, Canaans United is so unique, where you guys get to meet so many different handlers from all over the country. I mean, it's just absolutely insane, because you kind of have like this eclectic group of people have different training approaches and different standards that they have to meet in their canine unit or certifications or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. And then it's just like, hey, let's all get together and let's train and see where we can troubleshoot. It's just such a cool opportunity, because then you get to see those stories or hear those stories and then reflect on, like, oh, I met that dog, or whatever it may be.
And build more relationships. We've built a ton of them. We've got a lot of friends that we've built through that organization that we would have never had before.
Yeah. And I also thought it was really cool, going off of the Canaans United thing, is that I actually had my lawn guy, no word of a lie, message me and was like, hey, do you guys have anything to do with Canaans United? Because I was just at an event this past weekend.
That's cool.
That's so cool. It's like random. It was like my lawn guy. Like, I was there. But I thought that was really
that's crazy.
Unique. So
Mike was top flight security of the world for me over the weekend.
I was.
Right, Craig.
I'm almost. Yep, he's clear.
We tried to do that once, and someone at this table ruined the plan, because Jay was actually your security.
Oh,
and some fun killer over there to the left.
It was me.
Decided to tell the people at our table in Hawaii that Mike wasn't this famous football player.
We had it sold too.
I know we did. And you know when
Completely
you
sold.
see
He doesn't look
people
like a
like
football player at
secretly
all.
taking videos
Richard
and
Sherman.
photos?
But he
Richard
was a
Sherman.
retired
Yes.
football
Retired.
player.
It was perfect.
My
and
better
you
days were behind me.
ruined it. Jay
They-
would get up and hold his
Oh,
ear and like, okay, we're going to the bathroom. Like, you know, it was, I mean,
It was perfect.
had a great time.
Those
And
people were
then Mike's
buying it hook, line, and sinker.
they were like literally taking photos of Mike from
For
across
sure.
the table because he was wearing the Tommy Bahama
Yeah.
outfit that you picked out.
Much like
That
this one.
alone.
Yep.
That
Yeah,
that
what
did
you
it.
gonna say, guys?
And you know, and then of course Mike
Let me
has
do
to
this
go.
top button up.
He's a dog trainer. Like, bro.
Yeah, in retirement. In retirement from the NFL, I became a dog trainer.
You totally messed it up.
I'm not doing that.
Yep.
You ruined that for us.
God wouldn't approve.
I don't know. Probably found it humorous as well. Okay, so let's also get into a little bit, because I'm sure some of our listeners would like to know, who are thinking about wanting to join the canine unit, and they kind of don't know where to start. What makes an ideal handler prior to actually having a dog?
Great question. I think for me, my years of doing that and selecting handlers was I wanted a team player, but somebody that was like above par in their activity and the way they carried themselves as a cop out in the street. A lot of times, though, the guy that is the most active is the guy that is not the team player.
Mhm.
He's willing to kind of
You hit the nail on
put
the
it.
head.
Yeah, they're the guys that they're doing a lot, and on paper they look the part. They look the guy that's out there making the most arrests. He's chasing the bad guys, tackling them. He's getting a lot of activity, while at the same time causing his own partners to handle all the calls for service that are coming in
Yep.
because he's always tied up at the jail. So I always looked for the guy that had the above average activity, but was also the guy that was real quick to leave the jail and, hey, what's been going on since I've been gone? Let me go help them write this burglary report. Let me dust for prints. Let me collect some evidence for them. The guys that were always looking out for their own partners. I wanted somebody because although a big majority of their time as a canine handler, they're spent as an independent contractor out there working on their own. They have to have that team mentality because without other canine handlers in your unit, you're not going to be successful.
Right.
Right. So training days and looking out for each other, supporting each other. So we wanted people that were team players, guys that were pretty grounded in their personal life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That was always a big thing for me because this work requires a lot more than just being a law enforcement officer.
Right.
So it's also being very grounded in their character, their morals, how they carried themselves off duty. Sometimes the guys that are single and getting after it.
Dirty little hamster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dirty little hamsters. We know quite a few of those.
Yep.
That can play havoc on your unit down the
and
road.
also the dog.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
100%.
looking for those guys that are a little bit more grounded in their life. That, we're definitely more focused.
Right.
And that led into they were physically capable to be able to do the job, being focused and having that good life where we're mentally and mature enough to handle the responsibility that they're about to get in. Canine's probably the number one liability for the entire agency, and having guys that can make decisions on the fly, but have built-in kind of organic leadership skills that are not bestowed upon them with rank, that they're in them because of their character and their upbringing. Those to me always seem to be the guys that thrived in that position,
Right.
because the second they get back out there, finish up with canine school, they might've been the, unassuming kind of junior guy on patrol, but now all of a sudden they're kind of thrust into this position where they're getting on scene and supervisors are looking at them going, what do we need to do?
Right.
So they have to be able to, run with that, make good decisions, be leader guys during the canine call, but also during the downtime. Are they still being that same guy that's going and helping pick up some of that slack
Right.
instead of just walking around with my thigh holster and my tack gears to look cool at the Jiffy store for the little dirty little hamster girl working behind the counter?
Yep.
Now, what about dog experience? Like, do you want them to have dog experience? 'Cause I'm always on the fence of this when like people actually come to like our train-the-trainer program. Like, I am on the fence quite often where I look at some of the trainers that have come to us that have zero training experience, and they turn out to be like the best
Hands
ones.
down.
Yep.
And I think sometimes that's the case because there's not so much, I don't want to say baggage, but just like, well, I already know this kind of. And like,
Or you're just not having to undo things that are
Right.
counter to how you want to teach
Right.
them,
Yep.
right?
so do you find that if like you have someone that's like, oh, I've had dogs all my life and like canines obviously where I should be because, you know, I had this dog and this dog.
Yeah.
What is your take on that?
I definitely think that. I'm sure you were kind of the same way in your time when you were supervising a unit. For me, I wanted the guys that had no experience.
Okay.
Typically in that profession, what you would get is somebody that's got a little military experience. And a lot of times the dogs that they worked might have ended up been detection dog or the MPs that just worked a perimeter dog or something like that. And those programs were a lot of times so cookie cutter
Yeah.
that even when you got those guys, it wasn't that big of a deal. You would, like Mike said, have to disrupt a little bit of
Yep.
undesired behavior and learning, try to get them redirected. But for the most part, I wanted them green, just like I wanted the dogs.
Yeah. Because I see that sometimes too when someone has had pet dogs all their life
Mm-hmm.
and then they want like this really badass working dog for the first time. And then they start approaching the working dog with these crazy aspirational goals
Yep.
as the same as they would do with their pet dog. And
Yep.
like they don't really understand that like less is more a lot of times with working dogs
Yeah.
versus a pet.
Yep.
You can have out on the
All
couch
of-
and do all the things and
Yeah.
it still will be there.
Yeah. All the guys I selected had no dog experience. And now that I'm out and have done canine schools, I hear so much, well, I've just done it this way for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And that excuse only runs so long with me. So that, like Mike's saying, the baggage. And I will say, you don't need to have dog experience, and I would rather not have it because you sit on enough interview boards. What you said. Well, I've grown up with dogs, or I've always had dogs. That's always what you hear on interview boards. Every applicant is, well, I've just had dogs my whole life. But something that has stuck with me that I implemented when I took over the sheriff's office unit was a part of the testing, the tryout with Fish and Wildlife was they had this big black lab that had a muzzle on. I know what he's about to say. Go ahead.
A black one.
Yeah, there you go. I could see his head turn as soon as he heard it. I was like, all right. And I even tried to find a way to say black lab without saying black lab, but there was no way across it. So they had, us as applicants had to come up, and this dog was just a jerk. He'd growl and act like he's going to bite everybody. He's muzzled, and we had to pick him up and carry him a certain distance, set him down, pick him back up again, and carry him a distance again. And what set off for me was how many people reached to pick him up, and as soon as he growled, they jumped back.
Yeah.
And you could see the judge, the senior handlers making notes, and so that's a big one. Like you can have no dog experience, just don't have a legit fear, I think, of dogs because you're going to be working them.
Yeah.
And then for me, like the dog experience is not like he said. The biggest part is who's going to jump in and help, but I really like somebody that can pass my tryout.
Okay.
If you can pass the tryout, then I think your heart's enough in it that you'll get through it. Because my tryout was a pursuit bell out that I had to work, and it kicked my butt, and I was not successful with it. So that's exactly where I made every canine tryout after that. And I've had guys poop their pants on it, and
Like literally?
Yep. and stop and go back to their car right as soon as they poop their pants, and it wasn't even to the hard part yet. We
Like
hadn't
the
even gotten
poop is
good.
kind of hectic.
Yeah.
I feel like peeing in your
That's
pants.
a regular
Like-
thing too.
like
Like
pooping.
we just had tryouts yesterday, and we were talking about that one that we had a couple years ago where a guy, we just see him on the run because we're monitoring them like rangers and golf carts, watching them do the run, and we see this guy just dip off in the
Yep.
woods, and like a minute later he's sprinting out, pulling his pants up. Like,
Yep.
oh yeah,
with only one sock on his
Yeah.
on
Oh,
one
yeah.
foot, and
Well,
My man.
yep.
That's called heart and dedication.
Well, that's it.
And
we
nerves
just
get
like
to
it.
you. Nerves get to you big time.
on that note, we're going to take a quick break to shout out our sponsor.
This episode of The Rooted is brought to you by Worthless Handler. Since 2018, Worthless Handler has been manufacturing morale and pissing off admin with gear that speaks the truth of handlers, trainers, and working dog enthusiasts.
From bold patches to apparel, it's not just merch, it's a statement. Support those who support this podcast by heading over to worthlesshandler.com and check out their gear today.
Shout out, Gary.
Welcome back, guys. We are here. Allie had to use the bathroom, so we took a commercial break. But we're
That's
back
not
now.
true.
I
That
think
is
we've
not true.
been back, sweetie.
Oh, we've been back this entire time?
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody has told him we're back yet.
Yeah. So we're back starting now. All right. So we have a few more things that we want to discuss with you guys. I'm gonna take it from here now.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Try to put a positive spin on
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Get it
I'm
out of the gutter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a
It makes
happy
sense.
guy,
It makes
you know?
sense.
I'm nervous now because I don't know what direction
It's
this
crazy,
is about
right?
to go.
When we're
Yeah.
talking about
Based
Mike's
on the
talking.
before we're back conversation.
Son, Allie has printed out some stuff for me to ask you guys. But this is what I think about this stuff. Put that over there. All right. Well, I actually would like to ask you guys.
He did drop it.
In your training, your growth as a trainer, what is something that you wholeheartedly bought into, like early on in your career, that now you look back on and you're like, oh, I would not do that again, or I'm not going to train in that manner anymore.
I feel like that's not happy at all.
It is.
You got
happy.
to remember, I grew up a long time ago in Canine. It was real bad back then.
All right. Okay.
There were wooden
You
tires on
started
his
this
patrol
off with,
cars.
I want to go to a happy place. You took me straight back to the beginning.
That's true. And the horse and carriage patrol
Yeah,
car.
yeah.
Come back to demons.
Yeah. I can,
Never mind. All
I
right,
can spin
scratch
it
that
to
question.
happy
I
if you
guess-
want, but
I guess I'll get Allie's paper back.
No, that's the answer to that. I'm fine with it. You should
I've got a good answer for that.
All right.
Okay. Is it happy?
Yes. So I would say like when I noticed the stuff that I was being taught with Fish and Wildlife was just not it. We were teaching dogs how to track visually for thousands of tracks, like runoffs. And so I hated that system so much that I just completely abandoned it and for a long time said, that stuff's ridiculous. I'm never going to use it. But if you look at my tracking now, I start it with them seeing a person walk away. And so, I guess what I'm getting at is when I learned, markers and food reward and really dove into e-collar and pressure and what consequences do for dogs, then I started to learn my own medicine, that not every dog learns this one way. So molding a system, parts of a system that I despised at the time, that I said for a long time, I'll never touch that again. Like that goes in the bottom of the toolbox and it's locked in several layers, right? Now is something that ever so often there will be a dog that comes across the facility that has to have certain spots of this, that you can't just be the super cool modern
Right.
way with the dog. So, that's why I always say now, like, keep that stuff.
Yeah.
Even though you hate it and you may have hated the trainers behind it and their attitudes with it, don't let that taint it so much that you withhold a dog that training when they need it.
Yeah.
Right.
and that from the dog training perspective, like that's very true. But we also sometimes I think we get so caught up in the dogs we forget about the training the handler part of
Yep.
it.
Yep.
And for me, even that has evolved a lot. But I still find myself hanging on to some of those older traditions when it comes to training handlers.
Yeah.
Like we're big on some of the things that I learned early on in handler schools and as a young handler being taught by those old school guys. There's so much value in some of the way that they did things back then, especially when it comes to handler trainer. We still to this day do rapport walks every morning at the beginning of our canine school.
Yep.
Rapport walks they start the school out, they get out of their car at the agency and they take off. And they're walking through the hood, they're walking downtown. They'll be gone 4 or 5 miles just walking and exposing dogs to things. That was something that I did day one of canine school and we still do today. The other
And
thing
when
is,
I learned it, I loved it.
yeah,
From
and
watching
it's
your
so
guys.
beneficial. And I think there's so many people that when I say that to them, they're like, what? You do what? We do it literally every single day. That's how they start their canine school every single day. And we have found that it exposes the dogs to so much early on
Yeah.
to their working environment that they're going to be in. It's a new spot every day.
Right.
And the spots that we're going to be working in a lot, they repeat that regularly. But now the time that dogs leaves out of the training environment and is going in this real world environment, they've been in that environment so much that it is not a new environment anymore. They're just taking the skills that they've learned and they're applying it in those areas. The other thing for me is with the handlers. When our handlers get selected, they're not handlers, they're prospects. And it's old school tradition. They're not allowed to wear anything that identifies them as a canine guy at all. You haven't earned it until the day that you certify.
I've witnessed that while I've been at your place, and we're doing some muzzle stuff.
Yeah.
And the only like spare shirt we had there was like a old canine t-shirt. And I was like, all right, go put this on. And he's like, picks it up and looks at it. He's like, nope, no, I'm not putting this on. I can't put this on right
You're
now.
not allowed to. That's something you have to earn.
That's how it was at Fish and Wildlife.
And this came up to conversation a couple of days ago with another agency, and we were talking about why I do that. We're asking these young guys that a lot of times don't have very much life experience to take on a massive responsibility very young.
Mm-hmm.
But we're also asking them not to go to their head.
Yeah.
Right.
So if we start this off at a very grounded place, you're surrounded by guys that are here because they've earned their place here, right? We have there's things that we will talk about traditions, and there's things we don't talk about traditions. And the only way you'll ever know about those traditions is if you experience them.
Right.
And it starts with our tryout. Like, that's a big deal. Our tryout is not easy, but we want the guys that are serious about being there to be there.
Yeah.
And every single handler that's ever held a leash for the Marion County Sheriff's Office has been through that.
Mm-hmm.
We've never changed that standard.
Right.
And it's very difficult. There's a reason it's really difficult. But they start out that you're not allowed to wear anything insignia. It doesn't matter. They get their bulletproof vest. They get their TAC vest, but it doesn't say Sheriff Canine Handler on it. It just says Sheriff. They get their normal star on it. We may have to respond to something bad during the middle of canine school, some mass shooting or whatever. They won't have anything that says canine. They're not allowed to. And the reason that is, it sets that tone from them early on of what the responsibility is that they actually are gaining. And they're gaining it, not gained it.
Right.
And so they learn that responsibility. So by the time that they're getting ready to hit the street after 6 months of school, they're humble at least in that position.
Right.
And they know what it took for them to get there. But next is when the next phase of young guys are coming along, they've earned that place.
Right.
And now they are the guy passing that torch, and they're going to.
Yeah.
So those are, for me, the old school things that I'll never, ever get rid of. And they're bigger. We're teaching them not to be arrogant.
Yeah.
Right.
by
No one's
earning
bigger.
something.
No one's bigger than the program.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it. And we see a lot of that when we travel, where there's a lot of places that could use that.
Yeah.
I tried to implement a tradition at Grassroots, and that was that everyone got branded. I got one person to do it, but no
You
one
try to
else.
go like full Yellowstone on them.
Mhm.
No, tattoos work. You know, if I could, I would do the Yellowstone approach.
I think it's important that, we have there is a tradition we won't discuss. The name will be renamed nameless, but there is a physical occurrence that occurs when you graduate canine school and certify. That is a rite of passage that every single canine handler goes through, and the handlers are the one that deliver that process. And it is very serious, and most new guys don't know about it until it's happening. But it's always happened since the 70s. It's never stopped, and it will never stop.
Does it involve poo?
No, it doesn't involve. It's a physical interaction with it, right? It's a physical interaction.
Don't ask any more questions about it.
It is something that you will carry with you for the remainder of your life.
I feel like our viewers and
But
the
no,
listener are going to be like, I don't know if I can keep listening to this.
I think that it's super important to have established traditions like that.
I agree.
And it kind of goes back to what we talked about at the beginning, that camaraderie, you
Right.
know? Like those are traditions are built on something. They're there for a reason. And what I think an important part of traditions is that making sure the people that are in the know about those things understand the purpose of it.
Yeah.
100%.
Like why it's happening.
Yeah.
And Yeah, that's awesome.
You both have spent quite a bit of time around my units at different times in different phases of handlers and coming and going, and guys getting promoted, guys that gotten kicked off, guys have gotten in trouble. And, but I think both of you can say the perception of our team is it's a team.
Yeah.
And that's part of that. Like what we're instilling them from day one. You know, Mike will show up there and you got two new guys standing in the corner and they're not talking.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason they're not talking. You're not handlers and we're handlers. You're not allowed to talk.
But I'm also not just saying this to like toot y'all's horn, but I definitely have seen like the people that hang around y'all a lot, like unit wise, that are not necessarily like your old unit or anybody you used to work, that have taken that. And I've seen them kind of as their own unit where I can see they're close knit.
Right.
And, you know, I definitely think that when people get to see, oh, that can happen within my unit, and this is why it's super beneficial, and the camaraderie and everything we're talking about, it definitely sets the tone to kind of encourage people to do that.
Yeah. There's a good example of that where we're here. We got a buddy in town doing a course right now, and there's a guy from Marion County here, and we had some scheduling timing errors, so the course didn't end up starting late until later in the afternoon than it was supposed to. And he says about one word a day.
He's a very quiet fella.
So you know that he was up in arms about it because he came and spoke to me about it, and he says, hey, I could have been at the unit tryouts today.
He was pretty upset about,
so like,
because we had tryouts yesterday morning and he missed it.
Yeah, he missed the tryouts, you know. And he's like, oh, I could have been at that. So like that just says a lot for, you know, what the kind of culture is that is created.
And that's something that those guys take very serious, especially after they've been through it. And again, that's what I mean. Like they're passing on that tradition. Yesterday I called Justin, and all of you guys have had a chance to meet Justin. Justin is the sergeant that he worked for me as a handler. His dog was shot and killed last year. He's since been promoted, and he took my position, and I'd been grooming him about 8 months prior to me leaving in August. And yesterday I was so proud. I went there, you know, number one, I got a phone call. You're going to be there, right? Like, I don't work there no more.
Yeah.
You know? And I was like, of course I'll be there. But that's their tradition to continue now. But for me to get a call, number one, and say, hey, we want you there. And then when I got there, to just sit back and watch Justin carry on that tradition, the exact the way that I carried it on from the guy before me, but also put his like spin on things and the way he wanted to do it. I called him last night. I was sitting on my front porch and was talking to him, and I told him, like, man, I'm just so proud of you. Like, I watched what he did yesterday grow, because it was his first tryout as a supervisor. And he absolutely smashed it out of the park. Did an amazing job. Dude. Yeah. He's going to be here today. He's coming. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
And I wish that agencies across the board would keep that mindset of that tradition. I tried to set that at my agency, and I know I left.
Right.
Like, I get it. But let's keep the specialty unit mindset, the tryout that most agencies do to get on SWAT, that runs commander to commander on down. Why not keep that across special? Like, why is it no matter who is over SWAT, they're still gonna, like my old agency, I was just back there for maintenance training, and you hear the woods walk and this and that's been stuck there since I was a game warden. But as K9, the tryout that I tried, there was not one before. When I set that tryout up, it was great until I left, and then it just got washed by the wayside, no matter who was over it. So I wish agencies would pick up on, stick to that.
It definitely creates value and buy-in. For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure, we have I think that's just psychologically something that we can measure across the board in any facets, right? Like, we have a tradition. I can't say it because there's people that are going through it right now, that when they graduate the trainer program, something they all have to do.
Oh, I love it.
And it's really on the spot, and it's nothing they can prepare for. And it is something that traditionally, you tell anybody that works for us now, hey, tonight's the night that this is happening. They're there. They want to be there.
Fly into town.
They want to be part of that, because it is something that traditionally that we put forth. And I do think it's this kind of like this buy-in. This is like the excitement that I'm part of this now. I've now officially, made the next step. And, I think it's really important in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So I do have a question, because we haven't talked a lot about dogs too much and like the training aspect, more or less like just like reflection wise. Is there one thing that you are not willing to negotiate on when it comes to a dog that you are putting, let's say, into a unit?
Ooh.
You're meaning like what our standard is with the dog
Like,
itself?
yeah, like one thing, like, because every dog can be a little bit different.
Like a red flag or something?
Yeah, like a red flag. Like what would
Like
be...
call it quits, done
Yeah,
with this.
not touching that. No, the 10-foot pole. I'm not willing to work through it, nothing.
I think first and foremost is lack of very strong environmentals. That's the first thing that, and at least in my opinion, washes the majority of dogs. They can be monster biter. We were just talking about that at breakfast, monstrosities of dogs in every facet until they see a slick floor.
Right.
And then it just falls downhill. So that's I'm not looking at anything else. I'm not wasting my time on because in some facet, an environmental issue is going to show its face again, in my opinion. And kind of my rule of thumb is if I really like the dog and I see an environmental issue and I can show the dog a couple things in that session, most likely it's going to be through food somehow. And then I can come back the next day and the dog not show me an issue because he learned he won't die.
Right.
Well, then I'm okay with that.
Right.
But if I bring him back the next day and he shows me the same behavior, and say, I really like the dog, maybe I'll work at it one more time and bring him back a third day. And if I don't see progression, if I still see oh my God, it's going to eat me.
Right.
Then because that's going to show its face in a deployment and it's going to get people hurt.
Yeah.
And you'll never be able to overcome it. And then you put all this work in just to run into a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the what God gave them stuff.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're at any level of decent dog trainer, you can just about get a dog to do whatever, but it's the things that you can't overcome. So for me, it's probably that universal neutrality that they may need some, pull it out from its dormant place within its genetics. But I think it's that genetic neutrality of wherever we put you, whatever we ask you to do, like they're at least willing.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think so many times we were talking about this with testing dogs. So many times we're trying to do all these crazy tests when the root of it is what is their genetic neutrality of dealing with environmentals and dealing with the pressure that we're going to put on them and social pressure and, the handler being that new pressure aspect. And it's the ability to just be like genetically neutral so that we can point and shoot whatever direction. But I think once you see that and that hair on the back of the spidey sense starts tingling, like that's there, you might as well just stop and move on. I just was talking to Justin last night about the 3 new dogs we have, and there's 2 of them that we haven't even started training, and they've already proven to us that they are the dogs. The one tested very well, but he's young, but my jury is still out.
Right.
And I told Justin, we're going to get after it. But if we start seeing any hesitation, we're just going to stop and get another dog. With the other 2, we know, but those. So I think that's for me. It's that you guys know because you've tested tons and tons and tons of dogs. I don't have to do crazy tests anymore.
Right.
You can just look at them and see them moving and watching how they coming out of the kennel and you already know.
Yeah, I started to kind of stereotype dogs that look a certain way.
It's not stereotypes if it's accurate.
Like if they kind of look like they have some kind of, how do I say this word without it being bad? Thank you. He said it, I did it. If they look that way,
Blake, censor that.
If they look that way, I'm like, something's going to be weird. Something weird's going to happen, whether it's like a health issue or behavioral issue. If you kind of look like genetically effed,
we've all done this long enough. We know exactly what she's talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Where you're like, but there's also been times that's bit us in the butt for not listening to that.
Right.
Yeah.
Or bit us in the butt because just so everybody listening is clear, we're not just talking about environmentals for dual dogs.
No.
Environmentals for single purpose dogs
Yeah.
must be there as well.
Yeah.
It's the same standard. But like you're saying, I found myself there for a little bit, giving a dog that look and going, nope, go away. And then to see that dog at another agency on the street, and I'm going, gosh, dog it. Why didn't I pick that dog? Like,
Yeah.
You know the dog that comes to my mind, not so much like the crazy look, but I would have passed on the dog, and he is a badass dog. Taco.
For sure.
We were talking about that the other day.
100%.
I called him right over
Yeah.
the first time I met Taco, and I was like, Jay, what'd
that
you
dog's
pick?
fooling. Man. He will absolutely fool you.
I don't think he looks.
No,
bro.
no, he doesn't.
No,
I'm not saying
he's a sharp-looking dog.
Yeah.
But the way he carries himself, Tom, you're
Like,
like,
nerve.
Like, okay, I know exactly what you're talking about because you know whose dog also moves like that a little bit? Bam.
Yeah.
Well,
But
Hunter's,
Taco's very understanding. Like you look at him sometimes,
Yeah.
you're like, if you didn't know that dog and it walked on a field, you
Yeah.
would think, here we go.
Yeah.
Somebody's trying to make us some dog that something that they're not.
Yeah.
And
And
then
then,
Taco just won the
Yeah.
Canines
yeah,
United.
top dog.
and has how
Top
many
dog.
street bites?
Oh, bro,
Like
that
Hunter's
dog's-
dog, Hunter Kern's dog. You met him before he passed,
Yeah,
Ruger.
yeah, Ruger.
I met him too.
Golly, yeah. But if you watch him, his tail is touching his stomach
Yep.
everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
But that dog could come out on the street.
There are
and
some few
just-
diamonds in the rough, but
Yeah.
for the most
Yeah.
part,
But
when
you
you
know,
see that little,
Yeah,
that gleam,
I just heard the saying, hey, there are white tigers.
yeah.
No, but
Yeah.
I'm even talking to the extent of like their eyes are too close. Like
Yeah.
their
No, wait,
snout
I know what you're
looks-
saying.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you can just sometimes where you're like, and I again because it's like we try to preach that it's not about the looks. Like we try
Yeah.
to say like you
But
know
it is.
like you can have a really nice
Yeah.
ugly dog,
Yeah,
right? But it's just like stereotype.
yeah.
You know, stereotypically, if a good looking dog is a majority of the time
Yeah.
like genetically good looking. I'm not just talking it's pretty
Yeah.
colors. Like
Yeah.
it looks well put together.
Yeah,
Usually,
yeah.
you know, I would say,
Form follows function.
yeah.
And also too, something I learned with the single purpose dogs, because we hit that contract that we were doing quite a bit of single purpose dogs, and I would drive to go test them, and I learned with especially at least this vendor, it takes the dog a couple days to come around to you. So first testing really pretty bad. But knowing the vendor, knowing the dogs I've gotten in the past, and knowing the agreement that I had with the vendor, we would take the dogs back, and by the next day, you're seeing this crazy good dog. Well, then we do training and occupy that space of their brain with a task. And then when I hand them off to a handler, there's a day lull of figuring out who's behind them. But then after that, no issues
I've
whatsoever.
actually had to remind Michael that a couple times over the years when we brought dogs in from Europe.
I get rid of them
Where, like-
immediately. I don't like the way that thing winked at me. Put him back on the plane.
I've had to be like, bro,
Yeah.
like
I learned, give it
that
some
was
time.
a flight.
Even
right?
with all of them, just give them a couple days. And,
I'm definitely not one to want to rush things, but I think we do have a purpose.
yeah,
I've told the story a few times where I'm the first one to tell somebody, like, stop spinning your wheel, stop wasting time, move on. And I run into a struggle at 2 schools ago with a dog, and it was already kind of a weird dynamic because we had taken on a dog that wasn't ours, then we had gotten a different dog, and we had moved handlers, and that guy got promoted, and we had to put this dog mid-school, the thing. And I run into some struggles with this dog, and I found myself like pushing when I normally wouldn't have pushed.
Yeah.
And I got to a frustrating point in my day where I stopped and I hit the group text with these 2 mics and a couple other people on there that I trust deeply. And I said, all right, I need some help. And it was like within a minute, we were all on a FaceTime call. And one of them, I don't remember who it was, said basically like, we knew that like if you were texting saying I need help, like something's wrong. And everybody stopped what they were doing and got on. And I lay this thing out, and I'm laying this whole problem out of all these things that I've done. And I'm trying to figure out why. And there's dynamics. And, I think Mike speaks to him, was like, man, I don't know. Like, it sounds like you've done everything that I would have done. And
well, that's what I was about to say. You checked off everything
like
that I would have
every
tried.
box. And I think both of you, that was kind of your comment. And then one of the other people on the call, another one of our OGs, Mike Gooseby, he was like, I can tell you exactly what's wrong. Like, I can tell you right now. And I'm thinking, here we go. Like, I'm going to get this,
some insight.
boom, this old knowledge
Yeah.
bombs about drama. And he's like, it's you. And And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's, a little bit almost kind of offended. Like, how are you? I literally just told you everything I did.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I've heard you give the advice that you're seeking right now on multiple occasions. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Get rid of the dog and start over.
Yeah.
And it was like a light bulb went off in my head. It was like a gut punch, to be honest with you. It was, and part of it had to do with, at that point, I had never been solely responsible for selecting a dog and had to wash it.
Yeah.
It was my first time ever doing that.
Yeah.
And it was so, like, such an ego check.
Yeah.
Hundreds of
100%.
dogs.
Yeah.
Hundreds of dogs.
I was always fortunate that Mike has always started with the very beginning. Like if anything happened, and it could be something as small as like a dog peeing in the car. It could be something like this dog doesn't have it. It could be something super small, and he'll be like, name of the game. Name of the game.
Yeah.
So like for some reason to me, like especially if I bred the dog and like I had more high hopes for that dog, if a dog ends up like the one dog that ended up going to your trainer, like I had a really high hopes with him.
Oh yeah.
And I really, really liked him. And I'm not often wrong. I won't put that out there.
I don't know who told you that.
Whoa.
But I actually hear him in my head, and without him even saying, name of the game.
Cut it loose. Yep.
Name of the game.
Yep. It's part of it.
Yeah, my problem is I'm on the opposite end.
Yeah, he has
literally
issues.
I think I barely like dogs.
I think I like that.
Like, nope, it's not right. Nope, get rid of them. So, nope, this one ain't it. Like,
Yeah, I have to
And
constantly
Allie has
talk you off
talked me off the edge on dogs.
many
that I was-
times.
Well, especially now.
Including your own dog
you know
right
how
now.
long did it take you to find Justin's replacement dog?
Yeah.
Several looks.
It's not.
And that's what we're seeing now is like, we've said it 1,000 times. We got to be better trainers.
100%.
Because the dogs aren't out there.
Yeah.
I get trainers all the time that are good trainers that have good tests that are calling me going, where are they?
Yeah.
I can't find them.
Well, and I think that we're also not getting those dogs that we used to get that were really
100%.
hard that you could, they needed you to bash them over the skull.
Yep.
Now you look at them wrong and they're like, oh, my bad.
Yeah.
So
Well, and too, like I'm experiencing this, and I know he's going to hear this, and he shouldn't take this the wrong way, but we're also having to make sure we fit dogs with handlers. Like
for sure.
Yeah.
one of the first schools I did, I went to a vendor and selected a dog with you, and the handler is 100 pounds soaking wet, 95. Little female. Yeah. And the first dog that came down the alleyway is this big Malinois dragging this guy down the alleyway. And at first I was like, oh yeah. And then I thought, oh no, this is not going to work.
No,
and
not
we
at all.
immediately said,
just take him
turn
out.
around.
There's not even sense in looking at that dog.
Yeah. And then they ended up, I don't know how many dogs later brought a dog out that was like, that's him.
But we also knew based on that handler's job, her specific location and where she was working, we had to have the dog.
Yeah.
Right.
Because she may only get one deployment
Yeah.
in her
And she
career.
was building the program
Yeah.
Yeah.
from the
And
ground
we
up.
had to make sure that was the dog.
Yeah.
And I
Boy,
think
did
that's
he
important.
fit. Holy crap. I mean,
We
he's
just-
retired now and living the
No,
good life,
yeah.
running, chasing a
Yeah.
four-wheeler
But that
every
was the
day.
dog. And luckily she never had to use him,
Yeah.
but that was the dog.
But they just don't come like that
Nope.
anymore. I mean, that was how many years ago?
Oh, he was a diamond in the rough, for
and
sure.
You just don't find them,
Justin and I were talking about that yesterday when Justin already kind of has an idea who he's selecting from the tryouts yesterday. But we already have dogs, and that's something we're big on. Like I'll get rid of a handler if it doesn't fit the dog that we just selected. Right. So, but we went and picked these dogs out a couple weeks ago and brought them back to the agency, and the guys in the unit are taking care of them right now. And Justin called me last night. He's like, all right, like, what's your thought process? Who do we put these? Like, these are the two guys that I think I'm selecting. Who gets what dog? And I said, well, this is my opinion. And I told him, and he's like, perfect. That's what I thought you would say. And that's where my mind was at. But like, we haven't even selected them. The admin hasn't even put their blessing on it yet. And we already know like which dog is going to go. And I think that's a super important.
Yeah, and it is really important.
Yeah.
And it's definitely something that we've had conversations. Like he'll like, hey, can you do research on this department? How many bites? What's the population?
Yeah.
What's the crime rate? We'll do all that because you don't want to send this like banger of a dog that's going to need a lot of bites to even have like a successful career because of the type of dog it is, and put it to a town of 5,000.
But I also think vendors, we've run into the issues where vendors realize, and I think this is where they mess up, is oh, that's a small town. They don't get a lot of work. So we can put a softer, it needs to be the opposite. We talked about that needs to be the dog that doesn't need a ton of bite work because it was born to do that job.
Yeah.
And when the evil creeps into that little community, that one time, that dog needs to be the dog.
That have to get that.
Oh yeah.
They have to get satiated,
And the key to all of this is just like I preach all the time, have a plan. Like we're saying, you got this handler. Yeah. Fits that dog. Have the plan, but be ready to abandon it. Cause I look at Nico, like when I selected him at 10 months old, he was not what he is now, or was when he worked.
I'll tell you what he is right now. Ugly.
He is an ugly fella.
Dude, God.
We're going to get a picture of Nico. You're going to need to send it to Blake so we can overlay it right now. Nico is one of the ugliest dogs ever. I think he's just one of the ugliest things I've ever seen.
For sure.
Yeah.
And if we based it off of Allie's program, Nico would have never made it in the program.
Probably.
And over here in the corner is Mike Lilley's wife, who is squirming right now.
Actually fit what I'm theorizing.
Talking about her baby.
Yeah.
But at 10 months old, he was not like you could pet him. You know, he was just a cool dog.
Yeah.
Really like mild mannered, not over the top. Then he got his first street bite.
Yeah. Then he got bloody.
And that, man, it was a light switch.
Mm-hmm.
It was an absolute light switch where he went, you know, as he was learning some things in school, he was building, but bro, after that street bite, there was no turning back.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's so crazy, like that story. And then you got Drago, who was the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Like he came an asshole.
Yeah.
And then bites after bites after bites out. Now
Drago sits on my lap.
Yeah.
When I go to your house.
He's bit this guy, I don't know how many times. And he's just chilling on my back porch and Drago just walks up. What's up, dude? I'm going to sit in your lap right now.
And
you're going to like it.
to save me. Drago just sitting. I'm like, I guess you are. All right. I'm going to push you off me. So
See,
whenever you're ready and you want to get down, feel
at
free.
least at our house with Nico, I protected you.
Nah, I don't know
But the
about that
work
either.
with him brought him to a place of neutrality.
Yeah.
The with Nico, it went from neutrality to
He went,
Game
I
on.
can
crazy.
do this.
And he's what, how old is he now? 12, 11?
17.
11?
12.
And, you know, I still wouldn't pet him
22.
because he can't physically bite me anymore because he don't have any teeth. But he would gum me to death if I tried to reach out and pet him right now.
Well, we should wrap up, but if I could ask you one last quick question, and I want this to be 1 to 3 words.
Oh,
crap.
Yeah, this is a quiz now.
You just
I'm
used
good
2
at
of
these
yours.
questions.
You're done.
If you could tell every new handler one thing, what would it be?
You want us to answer one
1
thing
to
to a
3
new handler
words.
with
Yes.
1 to 3 words.
Yes. Yes. So it could be like,
I've got several, but which one's going to be the
Go home.
strongest?
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Find your passion.
that was perfect.
Yeah.
See, I think you could do it.
Yeah, see there? Find your passion.
Well, then I'm going to go I'm going to go off of that one. I'll pick one that's going to go off of that one. Find your passion, but find your peace as well.
Okay. All right. I'm still working on finding my piece.
Yeah,
tough.
you're married Michael Nesbitt.
And if I had a
buried chaos.
And you
secondary,
had an Ezra.
secondary would be patient.
Okay.
Love what you do.
Yep.
Bam.
See, I
Mike.
told you
Bro,
guys
we're
could
here
do
dropping
this.
3-word bombs
Yeah,
over
but
here.
that's outside the rules. That's 4, right?
No,
You said 1 to 3.
Well, you had 2 parts.
you said like 35
you-
words before you
I
even
was
said your 3
counting
words.
over here while
Were
you
you?
were
I
going.
wasn't counting. I wasn't counting.
Sorry, to take my shoes off. Sorry, my toes. Jay, Mike,
Yes.
it's a pleasure sitting down with you, and we
Always.
have these conversations kind of all the time.
Yeah.
So I think it's important, and I hope that the audience enjoys and gets some stuff from this. Would like to continue to do these whenever we
for
have
sure.
the opportunity. But I just want to say thank you guys for coming out and sitting down with us.
Thanks for having us.
Of course.
Yeah.
And now we're going to train. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
and
looking
if
forward
you
to it.
are listening and you're interested in connecting with these guys, learning more about them, we'll be sure to put a link to some of the different platforms that they are on to reach out to. And last but not least, we want to give a shout out to Worthless Handler for backing this podcast.
Yep.
And stay tuned for next week's episode.
Thank you, Gary.
thank you guys for coming out. All the fine print is going to read, and everything is going to be good. It was wonderful.
Terms and conditions apply.
Awesome.
dumb.
Love you guys.
If you have
Thank
two realistic
you.
dreams and unrealistic nightmares, please, we are not liable for any of those. All right, thanks, guys.
That was actually pretty good.